Okay, just a quickie today. As you may know, my name's David Stevens. What I was going to go through today was some aspects of diaphragmatic breathing and why it is so beneficial. It confers amazing health benefits. And there are several reasons for this. Obviously, the first reason is increased oxygen levels, which is just an amazing thing for every cell in the body. Particularly the cells of the brain, but everywhere, including, most importantly of course, major organs. Also, it has a very supportive effect, diaphragmatic breathing, on various organs. In particular, the organs that are below the diaphragm, which I'm going to show you in a minute, are massaged just purely and simply by the action of the diaphragm. So that the liver in particular, which is a massive organ in terms of its responsibility, it's thought to have something like 500 known functions. And for us to build a laboratory that could do what the liver does without any cross-contamination whatsoever, it would probably be the size of a small city. It's quite astounding really. And it gets massaged by this action, which is just brilliant. Also, other benefits, in particular, are the kidneys, because the kidneys are responsible, of course, for keeping the pH balance of the bloodstream, which should be 7.4 or something like that pH. The great thing about this deep breathing technique is you breathe out more carbon dioxide. And when you breathe out more carbon dioxide, you lower the level of carbonic acid in the bloodstream. This, of course, takes pressure off the kidneys, who are responsible for keeping this pH balance. It also increases peristalsis and venous return, blood coming back to the liver through the portal vein system. All of those things are helped by diaphragmatic breathing. Also, the lymph system, which is not driven by the heart, of course, it's driven by muscular contraction, and there are masses of lymph nodes in the abdominal area, and they are open and closed by this breathing technique. And when that happens, the solar area of the body, or the abdominal area just below the ribs, is actually acting like a pump, like a muscular pump, pumping lymph around the body, which is hugely beneficial, particularly for women that have any sort of desire to improve their breast health. This is a number one, but it's great for everybody, and it's something that a little practice goes a long way. And I've had quite a few people who have, quite a few women who have really not got their head around the diaphragmatic breathing, and it's particularly important because apart from anything else, you really do want the oxygen level high if you're trying to improve any health in the body, but particularly breast health, because of the concentration of the lymphs in various areas, which I'll show you on a diagram in a moment, just so you get a picture. But also what I'm going to do is just demonstrate the technique. And the most important thing is that to start the program, you must breathe out. Now, there's a very good reason for this, and the reason is that all of the reflex actions of the body are to breathe in. For example, if somebody throws cold water over you, intake of breath. Or if someone rushes in the building and says it's on fire, we don't sit there going, "Whew, goodness me." We go, "Fire," because that is fight or flight. That is the reaction of the body that is built in, that survival. And there are no reflex actions to breathe out. The reflex actions are to breathe in. So we start off by breathing out, and we breathe out until we've got that area below the ribs as tight as possible, so that we've shut down all of the lymph nodes. What we do next is to take an in-breath, and when we do this in-breath, we do it as fast as possible, and we do it with an open mouth. Now that might surprise you because we're always told to breathe through the nose, but to get the maximum effect with this, you need to breathe through the mouth. And when you breathe through the mouth, and you fill the lower abdomen as well as the chest area, where the normal muscles of inspiration we use all day long, chest out, stomach in, which may look very nice, but it's actually rubbish for our health. And so when we breathe in as fast as possible, open mouth, and this snaps open the lymph nodes. Then we hold our breath for about a count of 12. About 12 seconds seems to be quite perfect. And this allows time for the gaseous exchange, for the oxygen to get into the bloodstream and for the carbonic acid to be lowered by breathing out carbon dioxide. We then breathe out. Now this can be done through the mouth or through the nose. This isn't important. What is important, that it is done for a count of 6. So you don't run out of breath on a count of 5 or 7. You want to run out of breath on 6, because this part of it is the control, and it's the control we have over our body, and it changes the way we breathe permanently, and it changes brain pattern, or at least that's my view. So I'm going to show you this now, and when you've done the out breath, of course you're ready then to do an in breath. So again, you would do that with an open mouth, hold for 12, out for 6. And I would recommend that you do this in bursts of about 5 or 6, have a break for maybe 30 seconds, a minute, and then do it again. And you can do this lying down, you can sit it watching television, you can do it in the office, you can do it sitting in the car at the traffic lights, you can do 1 or 2. You can't overdo this technique, because if you feel yourself going slightly lightheaded, that's enough. You've got all the oxygen you need. And if you're then going on to do hydrotherapy or something like that for an area of the body that you're particularly conscious about, i.e. breast health, that sort of thing, then the body is already loaded with oxygen, and you're then going to direct the blood flow and also help the venous return by applying hydrotherapy, which will then load the body up with oxygen, and normal cells love oxygen. And anything that's unhelpful to the body, like cancer cells, bacteria, parasites, so on and so forth, they tend to be anoxic, that is, oxygen hating. So you are taking a massive step forward when you do diaphragmatic breathing. So first of all, if we look at the organs which are directly below the diaphragm, this isn't a very good scale, but the diaphragm is like a dome shape. And beneath the diaphragm, the largest venous organ in the body is the liver. Now as the diaphragm moves up and down, so the liver gets massaged and therefore slightly detoxed. It's very helpful to the liver. Also the spleen, the gallbladder, the stomach itself, and also all these organs become moved, and it increases peristalsis action, that wriggly action of the gut. So there are just a few of the benefits just by the movement of the diaphragm, which is one reason why it's so important. The second reason why this is such an amazing thing that you can do for yourself, the best really self-treatment that you could ever do, and of course it's free. And if we look now at the lymphatics, you'll see that in this area here we have a whole bunch of lymph nodes. There are probably many, many more than are actually indicated on this picture. So as the out-breath is undertaken and the whole of the abdominal area is compressed, so the lymphatic nodes close. And then on the in-breath, which as I'm going to show you is always done through an open mouth and is very rapid, those lymph nodes snap open. And because of the design of the lymph system, with it's got little valves all the way through, so the lymph can only flow in one direction, but it's driven by muscular contraction, of course, and not by the beat of the heart, though it does return to the veins. And that then goes back through the liver, and things are broken down. Some of it is discarded, that's in the lymph, and some of it is used again by the body if it's useful. And as you can probably see, there's a whole line of lymphs that go down this sort of sternum and masses of them around the breast area. And this is why it features prominently in the book, because in the book that I wrote about the vital health of breasts, etc., lymphatics are extremely important, and deep breathing really does exercise this part of the body and helps the immune system gallop forward, really. It's quite an amazing thing, and it's so easy to do. So I'm just going to demonstrate this lying down, but you can actually do it in so many different ways, and I often do it just walking along. I breathe out, collapse this area out like so it goes right down the concave, and now the lymph nodes are shut, and then you take a breath in, and then I should hold that for 12. And the important thing is that you load up the body with air more or less 50-50. So with diaphragmatic breathing, you don't really need to do this sort of type of diaphragmatic breathing. It's just as good to do this and this together so that you get a whole body full of oxygen, and then you hold it for about 12 seconds. And then after that, you breathe out for a count of 6, and again, as you breathe out, you get this concave effect, and on the full breath, of course, you get more of a domed effect. And that's it. That's diaphragmatic breathing. And actually, I've only done 2 or 3 practicing, and I've gone slightly lightheaded, so yeah, I'm loading myself up with oxygen. I think probably what I need now is a beer.